Yep, I'm back in the Ghostbusters outfit. Because I couldn't just do it once, or twice, or 3 times, I had to do it 4 times. I'm gonna be married and buried in this.
The Ghostbusters are back!
And we're the official headquarters.
Who are you gonna call? When you see a ghost, blast.
I don't see any ghosts.
See? It works.
Hi, I'm Anthonix Maximus, bitching to you about movies because I'll be damned if I'm gonna let 2021 pass by without me doing a New Year's Eve review. Of all my years on YouTube, I've never reviewed a New Year's movie before. So what's the best movie to review about New Year's Eve? No, I'm not gonna review that one. I'm reviewing Ghostbusters 2. I reviewed a lot of 2 movies this year. And you're probably sick of seeing me in a Ghostbusters jumpsuit, but you know what? I gotta close it off. Ghostbusters 2 is a New Year's movie because the villain's plan needs to take place on New Year's Eve. And in my other Ghostbuster reviews, I did threaten to review Ghostbusters 2 for New Year's Eve, so I'm cashing in. Ghostbusters 2 came out in 1989, 5 years after the last one. But in between that time, we all got the feel of Ghostbusters through the cartoon show. The real Ghostbusters. Let me give you some background on this one. So while the first movie was a huge success for Columbia Pictures, Chairman David Putnam at the time was not wanting to do a sequel. Later, Ivan Reitman would reveal that David Putnam was actually just listening to his bosses. However, because of all this, David Putnam and Bill Murray had a bit of a falling out. So much so that Bill Murray retired from acting until he made his return for the movie Scrooged. And in 1987, Ghostbusters 2 was announced to be put into production without discussing it with Ivan Reitman or Dan Aykroyd or Harold Ramis. But David Putnam was eventually replaced by Don Steele. With David Putnam out of the way, Bill Murray was ready to be back on this project. Seems like Bill Murray is always the one to hold things up, right? I love the man, but everything is kind of based on what he wants. Dan Aykroyd went ahead and jumped into script writing. In Dan Aykroyd's original script, Dana Barrett was going to be kidnapped and taken to Scotland, where she discovers there's a fairy ring, and it would require the Ghostbusters to travel there and traverse the underground to look for her. Remember, Dan Aykroyd loves the idea of supernatural phenomenons, hence the whole fairy idea. And he wanted to write the script because he wanted the first movie to take place where it's in New York City on a skyscraper, and he wanted to make it a contrast. But it was later decided that the script would have been too far-reaching, so they stuck with New York to keep the continuity going. Which is weird because, as we learned from Ghostbusters Afterlife, where it takes place in Ohio, guess that rule was thrown out the window, but at the same time, it had been decades, so make of it what you will. A lot of people agree, Ghostbusters 2 is the weaker of all the movies. I'm excluding, of course, the 2016 movie that I reviewed, because that's no longer in continuity with anything. Not that it ever was, but now, thanks to Ghostbusters Afterlife, there's only 3 movies we have to be concerned with. Ghostbusters 1, Ghostbusters 2, and Ghostbusters Afterlife. And quite frankly, I liked Ghostbusters 2. Now remember, just because I say I like a movie doesn't mean it's a good movie. This movie is very flawed. And I do believe that you can like a movie and still acknowledge it as a bad movie. Because I like a movie, why it's easy for me to nitpick at it. But I don't think Ghostbusters 2 deserves as much hate as people give it. Yeah, it copies a lot from the first movie, and it took too many studio notes, but it does have a way of building on top of what's already established. And having the Statue of Liberty in the movie, I think it made the film bigger than the previous one. And that's what you want in your sequels. You want your stakes to be higher. Of course, I might be a little biased here because aside from the cartoon series, the first Ghostbusters film I ever watched was Ghostbusters 2. So it's hard to make a comparison back then. Of course, older Tony realizes that the first Ghostbusters is superior. Like most film franchises, the first one is superior. However, I did love Ghostbusters Afterlife. Without giving anything away, that film is the perfect way to pass a torch. But enough about the rambling, let's just jump right into Ghostbusters 2. Oh no, this ghost isn't holding up 2 fingers. I guess I got the wrong costume. Damn it, Thanos! Oh, in our first shot, we get slime coming up out of the ground. Because that's what this film needed, slime. That was another studio note that was thrown at Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis. There needed to be slime because a lot of the stuff that happens in this film is because of the cartoon.
Nobody picks on the spud but me.
You cannot win.
No way! Oh no!
Yeah, by this point of the 5-year gap, the children who grew up on Ghostbusters grew up through the real Ghostbusters cartoon. They didn't want to confuse the children, so there's gonna be a lot of similarities from the cartoon to this film. I swear Dana Barrett, played by Sigourney Weaver, cannot catch a break. If it's not her apartment that's being terrorized, it's going to be her baby. And look at the people arguing already. That's a little foreshadow because the slime that's happening underneath the city. Yeah, Harold Ramis and Ivan Reitman and Dan Aykroyd, they wanted to write a script where they wanted to address the problem of how New Yorkers are rude. So they do it through this film. And right from the start, the baby carriage starts moving on its own, and not one damn person catches it. Idiots! The same way as the first movie does, where it brings us the ghost, but this time he's saying peace to us. Oh my gosh, this film is actually about kindness and peace. So is this a double meaning? Instead of it just meaning Ghostbusters 2, it actually means peace? Maybe I'm just overthinking it. This is where we see the return of Dan Aykroyd as Ray Stantz and Ernie Hudson as Winston Zeddemore, going into action. It's a children's birthday party! And we see Winston without the mustache this time. Probably because in a cartoon they didn't give him a mustache. But in that case, why does Ray Stantz still have black hair, not red hair? Get it? See, it's not really that funny of a joke in the context of 1989, because by 1989, children had already really moved on from He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. However, I feel like this joke was written in as a cheap shot towards Filmation. Because remember, after the first Ghostbusters, Filmation released their own Ghostbusters cartoon show to cash in on the movie. So I guess them name-dropping He-Man is kind of a own?
You know, my dad says you guys are full of crap.
Fun fact! That little boy right there is director Ivan Reitman's son, Jason Reitman, who would actually grow up to be the director of Ghostbusters Afterlife. Keep it all in the family. Little nepotism, but in this case I'll allow it because I like Jason Reitman's work as well.
There's something strange in the neighborhood.
Oh, they took the Ray Parker song and turned it from non-diegetic to diegetic, so now the song actually exists in their world. Yeah, I suppose in their universe, Ray Parker saw the victory of Ghostbusters and decided to make a song about them, but still weird.
Who you gonna call?
Oh, shut up, kids. There's not going to be another He-Man except for the New Adventures of He-Man. And you can thank Canon for that. Oh, and by the way, thanks, parents, for keeping your kids under control, you bastards. That's what I hate about parents at birthday parties. I know, because I used to work at a family fun center hosting birthday parties. And honestly, a lot of parents will just treat that time as if you're the babysitter. Give themselves a day off.
Through the top 3 floors off an uptown high-rise, ended up getting sued by every state, county, and city agency in New York.
A little exposition there explains that the Ghostbusters got ruined because they were sued by all kinds of people. Still doesn't make sense. I mean, they saved the city, unless they're trying to say that the ghost being released from the chambers was their fault, which kind of makes sense. They did have a radiation chamber right in New York City. It was Walter Peck that released the ghost, so I really don't know whose side to take on this.
And did anyone else see this happen?
And now Dana Barrett is asking for help from Harold Ramis's character, Egon Spengler. Okay, so here is one problem I'm gonna have with this film, and it actually falls on Egon. Not now, but I'll bring it up when we get closer to it. I will just say this, Egon has more personality here than he did in the last film, but he's just as funny in this scene.
Let's see what happens when we take away the puppy.
Oh, and by the way, this little girl is Ivan Reitman's daughter. Now we jump to our favorite Bill Murray playing the aforementioned Peter Venkman. Now he has his own TV show. It's not successful, but I have a feeling if YouTube existed back then, he would be a millionaire. Oh, it's certainly get more views than me. Please like and subscribe.
Well, I predict that the world will end at the stroke of midnight on New Year's Eve.
See, I told you this was a New Year's Eve film because the events are being foreshadowed by Sam Witwicky's dad.
Thank you. I'm an old friend of the mayor's. I want to say hello, give him a kiss.
I'm Jack Hardemeyer. I'm the mayor's assistant. I know who you are, Dr. Venkman.
And here it's Kurt Fuller. He is this movie's Walter Peck. For the sake of the film, he is Hardemeyer.
Under the arch there. If everything you're doing is bad, I want you to know this.
And here is our friend Peter McNichol playing Janos. So it's in a script that he was actually supposed to be just a regular straight man. But when Peter McNichol took the role, he decided to play the character as if he's doing an impression of Meryl Streep from Sophie's Choice.
Birthday of Night in Landau. Night, that's you. I think, oh, Stingo, he is so young.
In the last film, Dana Barrett was in the orchestra. In this film, she restores paintings. Is there anything Sigourney Weaver can't do? And like in the last Ghostbusters movie where she was always harassed by Louis Tully, in this film she's going to be harassed by Janos. Janos.
I think that she likes me. No, I do. I truly do.
A little foresight of who our villain is going to be. And that villain is Vigo, the Carpathian. But I'll get to him in a little bit. In the last movie, it took us a while to know what Gozer was. Here we get an idea what our villain is going to be. But enough about that. Let's check in on what Ray has been up to. Oh, he has his own shop. You know what? I feel like that is a shop that Dan Aykroyd would own. And of course, it's on St. Mark's. That doesn't surprise me one bit.
Science chicks really dig that large cranium of yours, huh?
I think they're more interested in my epididymis.
Gross. Also, this is what I kind of mentioned about Ray in this film. This one, he's all smirks and smiles. Yep. They're gonna investigate Dana Barrett, and Peter Venkman got the truth out of him. So he's gonna insert himself into the story.
Hello, Peter.
Hello, Dana.
It's a shame that Venkman and Barrett broke up, but at the same time it kind of makes sense. I can see how he would get on her nerves, but I do feel like Bill Murray has that charm where he could have chemistry with any leading lady. How he had chemistry with Scarlett Johansson, and she's much younger than him.
So, whatever happened to Mr. Wright? Anyway, I heard he ditched you and ran off to Europe.
But yeah, between films, Dana Barrett had gotten married and had a baby with another man, and she talks about how he was part of the orchestra.
What's the stuff?
Which would lead some to speculate that the father of little baby Oscar is the stiff from the first movie that she was talking to at Lincoln Center. So the father of the baby got a job offer and moved away, and she's pretty supportive of it. You know, Dana Barrett, your world is interesting. You can afford a penthouse, you can afford a decent apartment, and this is while being on a budget of a musician and a painting restorer. Restorer, is that a term? Whatever. She can afford these things.
Well, he's ugly. I mean, he's not Elephant Man ugly, but he's not attractive.
Aw, that is mean. I mean, he's not the most adorable baby, but, that's still mean. Quite the expressive baby, I will say. We cut to the outside of Dana's apartment where they discover something going on underground. So they disguise themselves as city workers. Okay, you guys go ahead and do your thing, you know, you improv masters.
Boss! Who told you to stop cutting? Hey, take it easy. He's been working overtime. You right, Ziggy?
Yo!
Have fun in this scene.
Listen to me.
Alright, cool, no build up, it just happened, so fine. Let's discuss the villain, Vigo the Carpathian. Now, this character is kind of like Gozer. And what I mean is, in the first movie, Gozer was played by a European actress, but was dubbed by a different actress. In this film, same deal. The walking embodiment of Vigo is played by Wilhelm von Homburg.
What was will be, what is will be no more.
But the voice of Vigo is actually Max von Sydow. You gotta understand, this guy's a legend. He's been in so many things all the way back to classic films like The Seventh Seal. He was in Star Wars The Force Awakens. And you guys, he was the Emperor Ming from Flash Gordon. I love his work.
Now is the season of evil.
Yeah, evil villain dialogue, thank you.
Find me a child that I might live again.
And now Janos is under the control of Vigo. Lot of possession in this film. This is where Ray gets lowered into the sewer where he sees a river of slime. We're gonna learn that the slime is what's making New Yorkers so angry. And one of the big criticisms of this film is that it's the slime, because the slime kind of cheapens the whole threat. We get the message that the cast was trying to say about how New Yorkers should be nicer, and puts the blame on the rudeness of New Yorkers at the time, and nowadays I guess, on the slime underneath. But when you incorporate slime, it makes people think of other things that slime appears in, usually like a Nickelodeon property or Masters of the Universe. So right away people are just gonna assume, oh, this is a note for the children, not for the grown audience that remembers the first movie. And now the Ghostbusters got caught impersonating city workers. I would say shame on them, but they're caught by Con Ed. And living in New York, we New Yorkers hate Con Ed. They're always screwing up with the power. In the summertime, their transformers always break down, which means a lot of rolling brownouts throughout the cheaper neighborhoods. But hey, as long as Manhattan and Times Square gets all the electricity, who cares? Sorry, I went on a bit of a tangent. Back to the film. And of course, when you impersonate a city worker, that's illegal. So to court they go. Of course, it doesn't help their case when they also accidentally blow out the power in the city. That's because Con Edison is such a cheap source of electricity that all it takes is one small mistake to take out the electricity of New York.
I don't want to hear a lot of malarkey about goblins and spooks and demons.
It's court day, and we get a comedic, over-the-top, overacting judge who talks on the side of his mouth with an angry voice. Arr!
Sounds like a pretty open-minded guy, huh?
Oh, hi, Ernie Hudson. Welcome back to the film. It is kind of weird that they would ask their accountant, Louis Tully, played by Rick Moranis, once again, to represent them as a lawyer, because we got to give the cast members from the first film something to do.
You were just trying to help out a friend
Who was frightened?
who was scared of what was happening to her. And when you're scared, what?
There was no evil.
There was no.
Okay, I do like this part though, where Venkman feeding lines to Tully of how to do his job.
Sometimes shit happens, someone has to deal with it, and who are you gonna call?
Okay, the people in the courtroom are on their side now, but not the judge, who's gonna be talking like this.
Find you guilty on all charges. Shut up! Pictures like you in decent society.
Your Honor, this is important.
You play on the...
But we learned that the slime reacts to anger, which causes an explosion releasing 2 ghosts. I don't know what's the deal with the ghosts in this film. That is something that you would imagine they're designed as from the real Ghostbusters cartoon. I wonder what the rules are for ghosts. Is that what they looked like when they got the chair? Or they're just regular people who got the chair and they came back looking like that?
Gotta do something!
This is the defining moment where the Ghostbusters show how important they are.
Hey! Are we seeing the order? Case dismissed! Hurry! We got the case! Now do something!
And our Ghostbusters become Ghostbusters.
Ray.
Egon!
No. Don't do that again, Egon. I don't like this side of you. I don't like cheeky Egon. And after destroying the courtroom, the ghosts have been captured and the Ghostbusters are back in business. Cue the montage.
Ghostbusters.
And it's Janine, played by Annie Potts.
Yes, we're back.
And unfortunately, they livened her up, just like they did to her cartoon counterpart years into the real Ghostbusters cartoon. Aside from this film being Ghostbusters 2, is there a reason that all their logos have to be updated with a ghost holding up two fingers? Or were you just wanting to sell more merchandise? Come on, it's me, Uncle Anthonix. Be honest. And that's a shame to capture that ghost running. I mean, yeah, it's a ghost, but it looks like all he was doing was running. And Slimer's back, because in the cartoon show, Slimer is a prominent member of the team. In the original draft, there are many scenes of Louis Tully trying to capture Slimer, but when they showed it to the audiences, they thought it was a bit polarizing because it just kind of took away from the film and made it childish. And even if it was to appeal to the children who watched the cartoon show, it would have just looked like that Slimer is in danger. I say this now because I can't remember if I brought that up in the 2016 Ghostbusters review, but I'll bring it up here. Yeah, Slimer is a tribute to John Belushi.
Whatever this stuff is, it responds to human emotional states.
Yes, I explained that. We figured that out.
Say, supportive, nurturing things to it.
You're not sleeping with it, are you, Ray?
I don't get that. I don't get the scene. What are they implying? Are they saying that they slept with the slime or not? You know, I don't want to know either. No, I kind of want to know. Oh my God. New York City water is releasing Pepto-Bismol. Why is she taking her shirt off to wash her baby? Okay, maybe the baby's splashing. Or is that something that the filmmakers wanted to do? Tub monster looks so fake, and that was kind of Bill Murray's excuse for Ghostbusters 2 not doing so well. But don't be too mad at the tub monster, because it's bringing these two ex-lovers together. Aww.
Ran the name Vigo the Carpathian through the occult reference net. Look what came up.
Okay, this is just too funny. Look at the information on this updated 1980s computer. This must be like a little cheeky Easter egg, because Vigo's full name is Prince Vigo von Homburg-Dusseldorf. Okay, von Homburg is the actor who plays Vigo, and Dusseldorf is the last name of the twins playing baby Oscar. In this scene, the Ghostbusters investigate the portrait of Vigo, and we see that Ray Stantz is acting strange. In the earlier draft of the script, Ray Stantz is actually being possessed by Vigo. All these scenes of Ray being possessed is cut out and left on the editing room floor. But there is a scene where you see Ray is driving the car in a very dangerous, reckless way. That's supposed to suggest in that moment he was being possessed. But the film doesn't convey that because there were so many edits to this. In this scene, Janine is trying to get Louis to join her in babysitting Oscar. Yeah, for some reason in this movie, they decided that Janine would stop being obsessed with Egon, and now she focuses her attention on Louis. Maybe it's because they didn't want Louis to be attracted to Dana anymore, but this really does change the whole characteristic of Janine. She's no longer this hard-boiled New Yorker type. Now she's just really easy.
Greek?
Mexican?
Pizza.
Dinner thing.
Chicago.
Yeah, we get it. You're from Chicago, but you know what? Real New Yorkers don't want Chicago pizza because it's a friggin' lasagna. But we have to put aside the pizza argument because their friggin' pictures are on fire.
Say bandit!
Fire! There's a goddamn fire!
And that's what happens when you invest in NFTs. I think that's what NFTs are. Papago.
I hate this.
See? Dan Aykroyd wanted them to investigate the underground caverns in the original draft where they would have been in Scotland. But in this draft, they'll just do it in New York. You notice Bill Murray isn't really being that much of a Ghostbuster. In a few scenes, he's kind of doing his Ghostbuster thing as the montages, but he's not really fully active as a Ghostbuster. But that's probably because Bill Murray was apprehensive about returning to acting. That's why a lot of the scenes where he's doing a Ghostbusters work, he's still wearing regular clothes. And they fell into the slime so they can get slimy too. Some scriptwriter got influenced by Double Dare. And yeah, we can sit here and examine the relationship talk between these two, but let's just have it be interrupted by the other slimed up Ghostbusters. Because people in New York are so mean. That damn slime. Oh, and cue the brand new Bobby Brown song as the Ghostbusters are taken to the Gracie Mansion. The Gracie Mansion, by the way, is where the mayor of New York City lives.
How you doing?
Hey, guys, come right this way.
Not only we get to listen to Bobby Brown sing, but we get to see Bobby Brown letting them into the Gracie Mansion. Thank you for your help. Such a natural couple those two are.
Just babysitting on us, and we watched some TV, we had something to eat, and then one thing led to another.
And she had her way with him. Just like the first Ghostbusters movie, the mayor wants to do nothing with the Ghostbusters. But it does set up for the bureaucrat to lock them up. Just like in the last movie. Except for in the last movie, they went to jail and then they went to the mayor. Here, they're gonna go to the mayor, get locked up, then go back to the mayor. That's not exactly what I mean by building up on top of what's already set up, you guys.
If I was to bring that baby, could I have that woman?
This is where you kind of wonder if he's really being possessed or he's cognizant of what he's doing.
Oh, God! Oscar!
Which kind of is weird. I don't know if there's a force that made him go out to the ledge, but as we see here, he's about to be captured by a ghost anyways. The ghost, which is actually Peter McNichol. Did Vigo turn him into a ghost of an old nanny? Like, there was too much editing of this film. I kind of need a bit more information. But let's just skip to the fact that Oscar just got captured.
You're not gonna take my baby.
That's what you get for trying to save your baby. If it's not made clear, Vigo's plan is to resurrect himself by taking over baby Oscar's body so he can grow up strong and take over the world again. But we do get this magnificent scene of ghosts coming out because of the slime. In the last film, it made sense when the ghosts came out and started attacking the city because they were accidentally freed. But here, the ghosts are attacking because Vigo is about to win, I guess. And the anger of New Yorkers mutates the slime to release the ghosts. I'm not really fully understanding the rules here.
Oh. Better late than never.
But at least we get Cheech Marin to make a comment here.
You have exactly 3 minutes to clear out. You're fired!
And of course, the mayor lets go of Hardenmeyer because Hardenmeyer put the Ghostbusters away. But that's okay. The mayor frees the Ghostbusters to do their job again, just like in the first movie. So how are they gonna bust through that?
It would take a tremendous amount of positive energy to crack that shell, and I seriously doubt that there's enough goodwill left in this town to do it.
In a very contrived way, that's for sure.
We need a symbol.
Yeah, this is where they're gonna do something really hacky. Let's just go with it.
Kinda makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Wonder what?
Whether she's naked under that toga?
Guys, I reviewed the X-Men where they fought on top of the Statue of Liberty. Leave the lady alone. Ew, now they're gonna splooge all over the statue. But the positive vibes of the Ghostbusters bring Lady Liberty to life. Never mind that the slime has the power to make things come to life. Alright, we established that with the toaster, but you can't just expect the statue to start moving. It's not like it has movable legs. It's still a statue. Sorry. I'm putting too much thought into the movie that I said I liked, so let's see where this goes. And even Lewis is getting into the action because he was later put into the cartoons because they have action figures of Janine and Lewis as Ghostbusters as well. Everyone gets an outfit. Where's my action figure?
4 minutes to go, and then party times.
And I told you it's a New Year's Eve movie. Maybe I should get my hat on. Cool, I can celebrate with a bad guy. Okay, this looks dumb. I'll just wait. And this is where it gets awesome for me because they use Lady Liberty to crash down into the building so they can use the ropes to swing on down.
Happy New Year!
It does kind of suck though because in this final climax, there's not really so much fighting because the Ghostbusters are paralyzed for most of it. And really the thing that stops Vigo is the crowd of people outside singing together.
Sorry, folks, excuse me! Ghostbusters!
Yes, the bad guy is defeated by the power of love. This is also the part where we see Ray get possessed. I mean, he was already possessed, but according to this film, thank you edits, it just looks like he was bothered once and now he's fully possessed. And normal in between, it just makes no sense. Ultimately, it's actually the Ghostbusters taking on one of their own while blasting and sliming Vigo's big melon head. But that's enough to defeat him because they're blasting the picture. Yeah, the Ghostbusters are blasting the painting. Just like how in the last movie, it wasn't them saving the day by blasting the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, but instead they had to blast the gateway. He blows up. I don't know what that really means for a ghost, but he blows up and the slime is removed from the building. And because Lewis was blasting his blaster, people think he did it. But good for him. I'm glad he gets recognized. Peter and Dana are back together and they kiss while crushing the baby.
Why am I drippings with goo?
You had a violent, prolonged, transformative psychic episode.
Sorry we had to hose you there, but you were kind of out of control.
And we have this stupid ass moment. I mean, who would think that's enjoyable? And this movie ends the same way as the last movie, where the credits start rolling as they leave the scene. But at the end, we get to see the statue has been properly returned. And that's Ghostbusters 2. It's stupid. It is. It repeats so much from the first movie. And I love this film to this day because, well, you know what? It's kind of like how a parent loves all their kids, including that one kid that keeps screwing up. That to me is Ghostbusters 2. This film came out #1 on its opening weekend, June 16, 1989. The budget was 30 to 40 million, and it made 215.4 million. But the critics tore it apart, saying that it was tired and it was lacking any surprise. And that's why in its following weekend, it was beaten out by Batman. And because of the fan and critic reaction, it made Bill Murray not want to be part of Ghostbusters in any shape or form. And that's why it took forever for us to get anything Ghostbusters related, whether it was the toy licensing or a sequel or anything. It wasn't until the Ghostbusters video game that we got the entire cast of the Ghostbusters to work together. It was the lack of enthusiasm is how we ended up with the 2016 Ghostbusters reboot. But because of how bad that movie treated the franchise, that's how we ended up with Ghostbusters Afterlife. So as we close off 2021, I just want to thank you. Thank you for watching Anthonix Maximus. Thank you for being my viewers. Thank you for the views. And let's hope to get some more. If you're new to this channel, I'm Anthonix Maximus. You're watching Anthonix Maximus Reviews. Please like, subscribe, ring that bell, and I will get some of those videos out. So I'm going to take a bit of a break in January, but not too long of a break, because I've discovered that if you take too long of a break, YouTube will give me a spanking. So let's ring in 2022. Hopefully next year will be better than the last. Dr. Cinema is here. Madison Von Drake. You're welcome, folks. I would love to be here right now, but I chose not to be.
Merry holiday and Happy New Year, Tony.
And feel free to count along with me, even you guys. 10, 9, 8,
7,
6,
5,
4,
3,
2, 1.
All right, suck in the guts, guys. We're the Ghostbusters.